Have you ever felt that no matter how much you plan and organize your schedule, you are always running late? It's exhausting, isn't it? We have been led to believe that achieving optimal productivity requires strict management of every moment of our day. But is this concept scientifically accurate? In a deep study presented by author David Cotta in his book Managing the Mind, Not Managing Time, a completely different perspective is introduced. He emphasizes that the essence of success does not lie in trying to cram more tasks into our daily schedule, but in aligning with our mental capabilities and utilizing them optimally. When Cotta faced the challenge of writing his book, he discovered a fundamental truth through his personal experience. After numerous attempts to apply traditional time management methods and reduce distractions, he arrived at a pivotal discovery. True productivity stems from effective management of mental energy rather than merely organizing time. By aligning tasks with optimal mental states, he was able to achieve tangible progress in his writing project. David Cotta represents an exceptional figure in the world of professional writing. At the beginning of his career, he never imagined himself as an author, nor was writing one of his primary interests. However, an incredibly tempting offer to write a book radically changed the course of his life. Driven by his professional commitment, he set out to restructure his entire life to achieve this goal, strategically allocating his time, giving up social commitments and leisure activities, and dedicating himself entirely to completing this ambitious project. Unlike many authors who experience a natural creative flow, David faced numerous challenges in the writing process. Despite dedicating long hours in front of his computer, he struggled to produce the required content. As the deadline for submitting a quarter of the book approached, the psychological pressure mounted, and the weight of expectations from his social and professional circles became increasingly overwhelming. In a decisive move, he enrolled in a training course in Boyka, hoping to renew his creative energy. There, a chance encounter with a friendly local led to a spontaneous conversation in Spanish. He never expected this meeting to have a profound impact on his mental state, yet he experienced a radical shift that enabled him to complete the first chapter of his book in just 1 hour. Through this inspiring experience, David Cotta realized a fundamental truth. Success in writing is not so much about time management as it is about cultivating the optimal mental state. Effective mind management goes beyond merely focusing on tasks. It requires a deep understanding of cognitive mechanisms and the dynamics of creativity. When faced with an overwhelming to-do list, the mind management approach offers a different perspective. Instead of asking what can be accomplished at the moment, the focus shifts to identifying tasks that align with one's current mental state. Directing mental energy toward tasks that resonate with it is the key to maximizing productivity and avoiding the waste of valuable resources. Reaching the peak of creativity. Developing creative abilities is not solely dependent on innate talent, but requires a scientific approach rooted in continuous improvement. Unlike physical commodities, creativity is not acquired directly. Rather, it takes shape through a gradual and deliberate growth process. In this context, experts emphasize that mental state plays a crucial role in the creative process, whether in storytelling, music composition, or visual arts. According to David Cotta, creative thinking can be categorized into 2 primary modes: divergent thinking, which involves exploring a wide range of ideas, and convergent thinking, which is used to organize and integrate these ideas into a cohesive framework, ultimately transforming them into a structured creative output. Let's take creative writing as an illustrative example. When starting the writing process, we encounter various strategic choices. Should we adopt a formal tone or a conversational one? Should we reveal our identity or maintain anonymity? This stage reflects divergent thinking, where different possible directions are explored. On the other hand, convergent thinking comes into play when making the final decision and selecting the most suitable path for the content. The optimal creative moment. To achieve peak creativity, it is essential to identify the perfect moment when favorable spatial and temporal conditions align. Creative work is not merely a series of systematic steps to be followed, but rather a fluid process that culminates in what is known as the sudden moment of inspiration. Neuroscientists confirm that this moment represents a turning point in perception and a reshaping of perspective. It is often referred to as the eureka moment, where ideas crystallize and visions become clear. Whether composing a musical piece, crafting a compelling narrative, or creating a work of art, this moment serves as a pivotal milestone in the creative journey. Discovering your personal creative peak. Optimal performance is not just about choosing a specific time of day. It requires a deep understanding of the energy and focus levels necessary to reach peak productivity. Naturally, energy levels fluctuate throughout the day as various activities, such as professional meetings, social interactions, and creative tasks, consume significant amounts of mental energy. Recognizing these biological cycles and working in harmony with them is the key to enhancing productivity and making the most of our creative potential. Therefore, it becomes essential to identify the time periods when our cognitive abilities peak, requiring us to align our work patterns with the daily rhythm of our biological clock, which regulates the sleep-wake cycle. This rhythm can be visualized as a rising curve throughout the day, with alertness gradually increasing over time, yet it is directly influenced by the amount of rest we get. When we don't get enough sleep, sleep debt accumulates, leading to a noticeable decline in energy levels. This explains why we often feel sluggish and fatigued, particularly in the early afternoon, around 2:30 p.m., when the body's biological clock intersects with the exhaustion caused by sleep deprivation. Optimizing focus management according to the biological rhythm. A deep understanding of our biological clock enables us to manage our focus more efficiently. Studies have shown that most people achieve peak productivity in the morning when the mind is at its sharpest. A clear example of this can be seen in the habits of elite violinists, who dedicate their early morning hours to focused, intensive practice. This approach is not exclusive to musicians. Renowned figures such as the writer Virginia Woolf and the psychologist B.F. Skinner also followed this principle, treating the morning as the ideal time for concentration and creativity. The first hour strategy to boost creativity. To maximize the benefits of peak creative periods, David Cotta proposes the first hour strategy, a method designed to dedicate the first hour of the day to accomplishing the most important creative tasks before mental energy becomes fragmented by daily obligations and distractions. Therefore, it becomes essential to identify the time periods when our cognitive abilities peak, requiring us to align our work patterns with the daily rhythm of our biological clock, which regulates the sleep-wake cycle. This rhythm can be visualized as a rising curve throughout the day, with alertness gradually increasing over time, yet it is directly influenced by the amount of rest we get. When we don't get enough sleep, sleep debt accumulates, leading to a noticeable decline in energy levels. This explains why we often feel sluggish and fatigued, particularly in the early afternoon, around 2:30 p.m., when the body's biological clock intersects with the exhaustion caused by sleep deprivation. Optimizing focus management according to the biological rhythm. A deep understanding of our biological clock enables us to manage our focus more efficiently. Studies have shown that most people achieve peak productivity in the morning when the mind is at its sharpest. A clear example of this can be seen in the habits of elite violinists, who dedicate their early morning hours to focused, intensive practice. This approach is not exclusive to musicians. Renowned figures such as the writer Virginia Woolf and the psychologist B.F. Skinner also followed this principle, treating the morning as the ideal time for concentration and creativity. The first hour strategy to boost creativity. To maximize the benefits of peak creative periods, David Cotta proposes the first hour strategy, a method designed to dedicate the first hour of the day to accomplishing the most important creative tasks before mental energy becomes fragmented by daily obligations and distractions. The 4 stages of creativity. Engaging in creative activities is not limited to the time we spend writing, painting, or pursuing other artistic endeavors. In reality, the mind continues working even during apparent periods of rest. Creativity is not confined to the moments we sit at our desks. It operates in the background throughout our daily activities. In this context, social psychologist Graham Wallace introduced a comprehensive scientific framework that outlines 4 essential stages of creativity. This model serves as a roadmap for understanding the entire creative journey. 1. Preparation, the knowledge-gathering phase. The creative process begins with the preparation stage, where we explore a topic in depth and analyze all available information. At this point, the mind acts as a mobile knowledge repository, collecting data and ideas that may initially seem unrelated. For instance, David Cotta followed a similar approach while writing his book. He gathered information from libraries, newspapers, and magazines and mapped out his initial thoughts on a whiteboard, allowing him to clearly organize his ideas before starting to write. This research was not a waste of time, but rather a necessary investment to move forward confidently and effectively. 2. Incubation, when the mind works in the background. After collecting information, the process moves into the incubation stage, a phase in which we temporarily step away from direct work on the project. This could mean engaging in other activities, such as exercising, relaxing, or spending time with family and friends. This disconnection might seem like a setback, but it is essential. It allows the mind to reorganize ideas without pressure. Constant effort to solve a problem can lead to frustration and burnout, whereas taking a break gives the subconscious mind the opportunity to work in the background, significantly increasing the chances of finding creative solutions. 3. Illumination, the aha moment. At this stage, we experience the breakthrough moment, often referred to as the sudden inspiration or eureka moment. Here, the ideas absorbed in the previous stages connect spontaneously and solutions emerge unexpectedly, as if the mind suddenly lights up with a new and innovative idea. This moment is not random. Rather, it is the natural result of thorough preparation and mental incubation. The more effort we invest in absorbing information at the beginning, the faster and smoother these creative insights occur. 4. Verification, turning the idea into reality. Following the moment of inspiration, we reach the final stage, verification, where the idea is tested, refined, and transformed into a final product. This is the phase where we review, evaluate, and implement the idea in a practical form, whether it's writing an article, authoring a book, painting a masterpiece, or developing a new invention. The inspiring experience of a musical genius. Let's reflect on an inspiring musical experience that vividly illustrates the 4 stages of creativity. One of the greatest composers in history once experienced an extraordinary moment of inspiration. He woke up from his sleep, having been struck by a remarkable melody. Thanks to his wisdom and foresight, he immediately rushed to his piano to capture this musical inspiration before it faded, ultimately creating a timeless masterpiece. However, this success was not a matter of luck. It was the result of years of experience and continuous practice in musical composition. Thorough preparation and persistent training enabled him to seize that creative moment and harness it effectively, while ensuring a meticulous verification and refinement process in the final stage. Verification, transforming inspiration into a complete masterpiece. At this critical stage, it becomes essential to subject the ideas born during the moment of inspiration to rigorous evaluation to ensure their originality, artistic value, and distinctiveness. Creativity is not just about having an idea. It requires analyzing, refining, and perfecting that idea to bring it to its highest potential. A practical example. A professional musician once faced a challenge in verifying the originality of a melody he had composed. With a deep sense of responsibility and disciplined creativity, he dedicated 1.5 years to reviewing and refining every element of his composition, starting from the melody down to the lyrics, arrangement, and musical production. Holistic creativity. Each stage is an essential link. Committing to a structured creative methodology and allocating sufficient time for each phase is a crucial condition for producing outstanding artistic works. Each of the 4 stages, preparation, incubation, illumination, and verification, forms a vital link in the integrated chain of creativity. Skipping any of them could negatively impact the quality and artistic value of the final product. Key takeaway. Creativity is a well-structured process. Creativity is not just a fleeting moment of inspiration. It is a thoughtful and systematic process that begins with preparation and ends with verification. Great creators don't settle for new ideas alone. They ensure their ideas are developed, refined, and presented in the best possible form. The 7 mental states of creative work. David Catafit did not follow rigid rules in his creative process. Instead, he relied on specific practices and strategies to reach the optimal mental state for writing. He often visited the 5th floor of the John Hancock Center, where he regularly jotted down notes in his personal notebook. Though his ideas were scattered at first, the mere act of writing gradually led him to discover the essential elements needed to enrich his work. This place helped him organize his thoughts and achieve the necessary mental clarity. Additionally, Absento coffee was another favorite spot of his. The charming atmosphere, blended with the deep aroma of coffee, created an ideal environment for creative flow. Just as David benefited from these locations, you too can adapt your work habits to different mental states, each playing a distinct role in the creative process. 1. The priority mental state. At this stage, the focus is on planning and strategizing. You determine what needs to be done, how to do it, and how to prioritize tasks by distinguishing between what's important and what's not. This is what David did during his time at the John Hancock Center, where he planned his book and laid the foundational structure of his work. 2. The exploratory mental state. This state is not about structured research, but rather about letting curiosity guide you to new insights without guilt or rigid expectations. For example, you may want to draw something, but don't know exactly what. So, you begin searching for inspiration and might stumble upon a documentary about the history of art, which unexpectedly opens up new creative perspectives. 3. The research-oriented mental state. In this state, the goal is to find specific answers to clear, well-defined questions. David engaged in this state when he needed to structure a particular chapter or verify the accuracy of information before including it in his book. Creative flexibility through mental state shifts. The ability to seamlessly transition between these different mental states provides creators with immense flexibility, helping them achieve greater creative output with more depth and efficiency. The 7 mental states of creative work. The creative mental state. This is the moment when the actual creative work happens, transforming the ideas you've gathered into a tangible product. Whether you are writing a first draft or sketching an initial design, this is when creativity takes shape. The refinement mental state. At this stage, you review and enhance your work. You check for logical coherence, refine details, adjust colors or visual elements to ensure consistency and appeal. The goal is to polish the work to its best possible form. The administrative mental state. Your focus cannot always be solely on creativity. Other responsibilities require attention, such as time management, organizing daily tasks, and handling personal commitments. Balancing creativity with these aspects of life is essential for sustained productivity. The renewal mental state. Sometimes, it's necessary to take a break and recharge. This could be through a day off, traveling, or even moments of relaxation like getting a massage. Even watching entertaining videos or movies can help clear the mind and restore creative energy. The importance of understanding mental states in creativity. By recognizing these mental states and transitioning between them consciously, you can enhance your creative output while avoiding burnout or loss of motivation. A difficult situation David faced. David encountered a major challenge when he was scheduled to interview Dr. Rock for his podcast. Dr. Rock was an inspiring figure to him, and his book Your Brain at Work helped David understand how the mind functions in the creative process. However, on the day of the interview, he faced an unexpected obstacle: construction work in the apartment he had rented. The noise persisted throughout the day, making it nearly impossible to record the episode. David's challenges in conducting the interview. When David recently moved to Panama City to work on his book, he faced a new challenge. He didn't know the neighborhood well enough to find a quiet place for the interview. Additionally, he knew rescheduling was impossible since Dr. Rock was a well-known and extremely busy figure. This was a rare opportunity that wouldn't come again. The situation seemed hopeless. It looked like he would have to cancel his podcast, as everything that day was working against his plans. But suddenly, something unexpected happened. His creative system kicked in. Instead of giving in to frustration, David wrote an email to Dr. Rock, addressing each problem head-on. By systematically tackling each obstacle, he found solutions to all the challenges in his way. In the end, he successfully recorded the interview as planned. What is the creative system? A creative system is a repeatable process that helps you progress in your creative work in an organized way without exhausting your mental energy. It acts as a framework that guides you through every step of your creative journey, ensuring consistency in output and innovation. The minimum creative dose. At the heart of this system is the concept of the minimum creative dose, the smallest, simplest step you can take to maintain steady progress. For example, if you're a writer, this could mean writing just one paragraph per day. Focusing on these small steps allows you to balance different priorities while continuously advancing in your creative journey. The importance of open loops in creativity. Open loops play a crucial role in enhancing the creative process, even though they may seem like mental clutter. For example, when you notice that your cat's food is running low, you make a mental note to buy more. This thought lingers in your mind until you act on it, keeping the task in your subconscious as an open loop. In creativity, these open loops keep projects active in your mind, helping you maintain progress. Suppose you're writing a book and you finish just one paragraph. By doing so, you leave an open loop that naturally compels you to return and continue. Over time, you build upon that paragraph, ensuring consistent work without the pressure of completing everything at once. Even if you don't spend the entire day writing, you remain on track, avoiding creative stagnation or guilt. The creative system and eliminating excuses. A creative system is flexible, allowing you to maintain multiple open loops at the same time. One loop might involve developing your story's plot, while another focuses on a character's backstory, making it easier to move forward step by step. Most importantly, this system eliminates excuses. You can no longer claim you don't have time, because the minimum creative dose only requires a few minutes. With this approach, you'll always find a way to keep progressing in your creative journey, no matter how busy you are. Conclusion. In this article, we have explored an in-depth perspective on managing cognitive abilities to achieve the highest levels of productivity and creativity. Effective mental management relies on aligning tasks with the optimal mental state rather than adhering to a rigid schedule. A more flexible approach, which considers the appropriate psychological state for each task, enhances performance and leads to outstanding results. Discovering one's personal creative peak is essential for improving mental management, as balancing divergent and convergent thinking creates moments of exceptional inspiration, leading to unprecedented creative achievements. Studies have shown that morning hours are often the peak of productivity for many, thanks to mental clarity and fewer distractions. The 4 stages of creativity, preparation, incubation, illumination, and verification, serve as an indispensable framework for excellence. Meanwhile, the 7 mental states, priority, exploration, research, creativity, refinement, management, and renewal, provide a comprehensive structure that enhances creative work. Additionally, The creative cycle helps maintain an optimal balance between intense focus and necessary rest, allowing each individual to determine their most effective rhythm, whether weekly, monthly, or seasonal. A structured creative system acts as a guiding framework for the entire creative process, offering a clear roadmap for each stage with precise implementation guidelines. In our fast-paced world, where everyone strives to achieve more in less time, it is crucial to remember the value of patience and reflection in creativity. True excellence requires perseverance and dedication. Therefore, let us appreciate every step of our creative journey, allowing ideas to develop at their natural pace, because great achievements are always worth the wait.